Let's rewind to 1789. Picture this. The French Revolution is in full swing. We've got the French National Assembly meeting to decide the future of the country. And here's where the famous left and right labels start, almost by accident. Delegates who supported the monarchy sat on the right side of the assembly hall, while those who backed the revolution sat on the left. It wasn't like ideological at first. It was just, well, geography. What's wild is how quickly this seating arrangement became something more. The left started to mean change, progress, quality. The right, stability, tradition, hierarchy. These ideas, they just stuck. As politics spread across the globe, the terms left and right became this shorthand for, really complex beliefs and systems, sort of like reducing an entire meal into just the appetizer. Here's the thing, though. When we force ourselves into these neat boxes, left or right, we miss the real complexities of what's going on. It's like trying to describe music with just two notes. You ever seen those political spectrum charts? The ones where it's not just left and right, but also libertarian, authoritarian, and a bunch of other dimensions? They remind us that humans and politics are like way more layered than a binary. And you start to ask, why has this binary framework lasted so long? Well, humans love a good us versus them story. It's easy, it's tribal, it simplifies the chaos, right? But the simplicity kind of comes at a cost. So let's talk about corporate media, because man, they've really nailed the art of making everything black and white. It's no secret they thrive on tension. They profit from turning politics into this high-stakes drama. Every story has to have a hero and a villain, It's not exactly subtle, is it? Fox News and MSNBC, they're like polar opposites on purpose, but at the end of the day, both are just feeding us the same type of meal, just with different seasoning. I mean, think about it. These networks have a business model that depends on us tuning in, getting angry, staying hooked. It's drama, outrage, ad revenue. And what's the result? Instead of encouraging real deep conversations, we get this endless parade of debates framed as left versus right. It's like they take the most extreme opinions and slap them onto TV screens because nuance? Nah, nuance doesn't sell ad space. And then there's social media. Honestly, it's like throwing gasoline on the fire. Algorithms aren't showing you what's fair or balanced. They're showing you what keeps you scrolling. And you know what grabs attention? Conflict. Content that reinforces your existing beliefs gets pushed to the top of your feed, while anything that might make you pause and think, that just kind of sinks into the void. What's scary is how this creates these echo chambers, right? You end up surrounded by people who think just like you do, hearing the same arguments on repeat. And before you know it, you're pretty much convinced the other side is off the wall crazy. Meanwhile, any voices that dare to step out of this binary, they just get drowned out, erased from the conversation. It's like the media's built this playground where only two teams are allowed to play and anyone else doesn't even get let onto the field. But we don't all have to group ourselves into one of two categories. Look at Malcolm X, a name that everyone recognizes, but honestly, probably for all the wrong reasons. See, Malcolm wasn't left and he wasn't right. He was for empowerment, for black liberation, and, at first, for separation from what he saw as a fundamentally flawed and unjust system. But here's the twist. Malcolm changed. He evolved. Later in his life, he began to advocate for something bigger. He moved past the nation versus nation mindset and started talking about human rights on a global scale. He broke free from any box people tried to stick him in because his true north wasn't left or right. It was freedom, self-respect, and justice. And then there's Thomas Paine. I mean, radical doesn't even begin to describe this guy. In the 1700s, when everyone still thought kings were ordained by God or something, Paine was out there yelling, "Nah, monarchy is a scam." I'm paraphrasing, of course, but his pamphlet, Common Sense, literally sparked a revolution. The dude was anti-monarchist, pro-reason, pro-rights, but he didn't trust government power any more than he trusted kings. He embodied liberty in its purest form. Paine wasn't about left versus right. He was all about don't tread on me, whether it was a king or a parliament doing the treading. And let's not forget Dwight D. Eisenhower. Talk about a guy who completely screws up the left-right narrative. He was a Republican, sure, but he wasn't afraid to warn us about the dangers of the military-industrial complex, a problem that neither side of the aisle wants to tackle today. He championed infrastructure projects like the interstate highway system, believing government had a role in building something lasting and collective. Eisenhower was, well, pragmatic. He mixed caution with boldness. It's almost like he didn't care about labels, he cared about solutions. Do you see the pattern here? Malcolm X, Thomas Paine, Eisenhower, they didn't live in the binary. Their thinking was fluid, dynamic, and rooted in something deeper. Liberty, justice, and accountability. These aren't left-right values. They're human values. And they force us to reconsider what the real political spectrum looks like. So, here's the big takeaway. Maybe the fight isn't between left and right at all. Maybe it's about liberty versus control. Maybe it's about freedom versus fear. And honestly, if we keep letting ourselves be boxed into these rigid identities, we're gonna miss the bigger picture. The solutions we need, they're not on one side of an aisle. They're in coalitions and listening to the Thomases and Malcolms and Eisenhowers of our time, people who challenge us to think bigger, think differently, and more importantly, work together. And that's the challenge I want to leave you with today. What if we all started questioning the binary? What if we stopped asking, what side are you on? And started asking, what values are you fighting for? And what if, instead of worrying about whether someone fits your label, you asked, can I find common ground with them to build something better? One conversation at a time, one coalition at a time, that's where the change happens.